Okay, you guys should be able to hear me, and hopefully there's no echo or looping going on. But we got a Nintendo Direct tomorrow. All right, okay, looks good. Looks good. Yeah, so the general plan tonight, guys, is to just talk about the Nintendo Direct tomorrow. Seeing if I'll have anyone come join me. It might just be me tonight. But, of course, I got you guys in the chat. I'll be kind of just, doing Q&A and just talking about all these circumstances around the Nintendo Direct. And before I get to the chat, and I will be getting to the chat, I just want to open up by saying tomorrow may not be the end of this long wait for Metroid Prime 4. It may not be. We may have to wait a little bit longer. But we've waited so long already. Surely we can wait just a bit more. But I'm not saying it won't be in the Direct tomorrow. I think there's a fantastic chance it could be in the Direct tomorrow. But I don't know. I don't. I straight up don't know. I wish I could say, yep, it's coming, guys, but I don't know. And I think that's part of what makes it interesting. There's stakes. When there's stakes, when there's a challenge, when things might not go your way, if it does go your way, it makes it all the more interesting. At least that's how I personally feel about these things. I know some people prefer to think things a little bit differently. Some people prefer to not have any expectations and be pleasantly surprised with whatever they get. But I get expectations. That's just the way I roll. And my expectations, I'm expecting Metroid Prime 4 to show up to some capacity tomorrow. I think we are going to get our first glimpse of the game tomorrow, knowing full well I could be wrong. I also think we are going to see a new Mario game. And I think we're going to see a new F-Zero. And I think Tears of the Kingdom DLC, we may get our first glimpse of that. I don't think we're going to get like a full blowout of what those plans may be. I'm not sure. But I think something may be announced in regards to that. And then all the other DLC plans Nintendo has already announced, we'll get more on that, including Mario Kart. And there may be a surprise announcement. There's rumors of there's being some sort of remaster showing up from the SNES era. Is it going to be Chrono Trigger? Is it going to be Super Mario RPG? Maybe it won't be either of those. Maybe it'll be something else. I definitely have my eyes peeled for that. And maybe another remaster. I already mentioned F-Zero. If Prime 4 is in the cards, right? Prime 2 and 3 may also be in the cards as well to come beforehand. That's a lot there. That if half of that comes, that's something that I'll be pleasantly surprised or just happy to see. There's other potentialities, like there's maybe Donkey Kong, for example. That's something that we've been waiting on for some time. I don't know if Donkey Kong will be saved for Switch 2 or not. So I'm not sure on that one. There is the rumored Kid Icarus remake. So at some point, I think that could be announced. Not saying it's happening tomorrow, but the point is there are things Nintendo can still announce, Nintendo can still do. Now, the new Mario something, as rumors have suggested, it may be a 2D Mario game. But I think, and that's it's interesting because if it's a 2D Mario game, like this pretty much, like tomorrow's Direct is going to pretty much tell us if a new Switch is coming out this year, I think. Like, it's not going to, what I mean by that is that I think once we see the Direct tomorrow, we will be able to extrapolate how likely it is a new Switch is coming out this year. I mean, there could still be like maybe like a Switch Lite OLED, but I'm talking about like next gen Switch. Like if it's 3D Mario that gets announced tomorrow, like the next big 3D Mario after Mario Odyssey, then I totally think a Switch 2 is coming out this year. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is 2D Mario. And when that happens, what to me what that says is, hey, we're putting out a Mario game that we've been sitting on for a while that's going to capitalize on the popularity of the Mario movie and do really well. And it's going to be a holdover into the next big new 3D Mario that they are saving for their next new system, which reportedly is coming next year. So we'll see, right? Like I said that I'm not giving up on Switch 2 necessarily for this year, but it comes down to what happens this summer, and tomorrow is going to be very telling. I do think Switch 2 is probably coming out next year, so if you have some sort of hope that Switch 2 can come out this year, I'm not saying don't have any hope, but I think it is probably not going to happen at this point. I just try not to outrule anything, you know? But anyways, I think Prime 4 is showing up tomorrow, and I am hyped. I am setting myself up for some level of disappointment potentially, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm curious, though, what you guys think, so let's get to the chat. Hello there, Zugnam. Hello there, Kieran Buckley. Kieran says, either 2D Mario or Metroid Prime 4 will close the Direct. I think that's true. I think one of those two. I agree with that. Watch it be something else that's even crazier. Yes, Teen Fernback, thank you. Thank you for being reasonable. Yeah, I was setting up at 7 and I just needed a couple extra minutes. Hello there, BX Arthritic. How are you? Hello there, Samuel A. Narwhal Gaming Variety. Donkey Kong, where I'm selling my Switch. We'll see. That could be, it could be there, but if it's not, you may not want to sell your Switch. There's lots of games coming. There's already a lot of games. Frank, 1-2-Switch commercial drop on Nintendo of America. I saw that. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, so that if you guys haven't seen the Everybody 1-2-Switch commercial trailer, it's strange. It's very odd. It's very odd. It's unsettling even. So basically it's like this trailer that it shows. I mean, I can put it on here if you guys want me to, but it's weird. It's just creepy. Like they put as a guy in a horse as we thought, and they invited a whole bunch of content creators. And from what I saw, they weren't even like video game content creators. They were just content creators. It was just odd. I mean, I'm kind of glad that they didn't invite video game content. Like, for example, if I was invited, I would have absolutely taken the opportunity to see the game and try to enjoy the experience. But I'd much rather to be invited to play Metroid Prime 4 early. Hint, hint, if anyone's listening, I would gladly play Metroid Prime 4 early, and no, I wouldn't spoil it. No, but, you know, I would rather be invited to play something like that early and not Everybody 1-2-Switch. But it's a strange thing. Like they were all, it was creepy because they were all like cheering and moving in motion. There was 100 people, and that was just weird. But at the same time, being able to play with 100 people in the same room, in theory, like that's kind of a crazy concept. Like that is in some ways impressive. Now it's through smartphones and it's basically a Jackbox thing. So is it really that mind-boggling? I'm not sure. But it's still kind of like an interesting idea. Not that I'm interested in the... It's interesting that it can be done, but I do not care for the idea. I don't find the idea interesting, if that makes any sense. It's just a weird thing. But the fact that we now have footage. We have footage on the game. Finally, right before the Direct. It is strange how they did that. And they also put out an announcement for the Bad and Kaidos remasters earlier in the day as well. So, and it's just odd. Like, these are the kind of things that you think they would show in a Direct, but they didn't. They put it beforehand. Like, after they announced the Direct. I think that kind of goes to show that, you know, a handful of announcements here or there, a day beforehand or a week beforehand, don't necessarily mean anything. Like it hasn't been that long since we got the Pikmin trailer. It hasn't been that long since they announced Everybody 1-2-Switch, and yet they still did the Nintendo Direct, right? Like I remember a lot of people when they saw those things like, oh, there's no way there's a Direct happening this month. I mean, even myself personally, I predicted that it would be happening in July. It wasn't just for those reasons. It was because I was thinking sometime between late June and early July, right? So I was right with the window, but I went with the latter half because of those announcements, and also because Jeff Grubb was hearing rumblings for early July. So maybe something else is happening in early July, which is interesting. So we'll see on that. I'm not sure, but point is that a couple little announcements do not deconfirm a direct in a month. They don't. The announcements happen all the time. My cat's scratching at her food. Yep. She's good. I know some of you guys are asking if Ruby is good. She is good for now. Like, she's seemingly fully healthy. She hasn't been coughing at all today. Basically she's had like a bit of a cough. Like she's kind of like heaving. Like it at first I thought it was like a hairball thing, but it was happening a little bit more too often, I think. I felt, and it kind of felt like it was taking too much out of her. So I took her to the vet yesterday, and they listened to her, and they felt like her breathing was a little off. And we tried to do some blood work, but they missed the needle twice, so we're gonna have to bring her in next week if she doesn't get told. They got some blood, so there was some tests done, they were negative, but they didn't get to do the full works. So we're not 100% sure what's wrong. But I have her on some antibiotics now, and I'm just I normally just give her dry food, but they suggested I give her some more wet food because it might make it easier on her throat. But in terms of energy, she's totally fine. Like, if you saw her today, you wouldn't think she's even sick at all. It's just she's had a little bit more of a, like, cats cough from hairballs. Like, she's done that maybe a little bit more than usual last few weeks. But today, she hasn't had any of that. So maybe, you know, already the couple doses of antibiotics and just having some moist foods help pass down whatever that is. And it'll be fine. But, yeah, I'm on top of it. She's going to be okay. Okay, now I'm trying to scroll through the chat, but it's weird. Like, I'm left clicking and it keeps right clicking. Hello there, Aaron Rath. Hello there, Risky. How are you? Risky, what am I most hyped for tomorrow in the Nintendo Direct? I am most hyped for Metroid Prime 4. That is the big thing. And, you know, I'm a huge Zelda guy. I think a lot of you who follow me know I'm a huge Zelda guy, right? Zelda's arguably, Zelda is the most important, like, franchise to my channel. Like, clearly, I make more Zelda videos, my most successful videos. Zelda is my favorite series. Like, if I'm ranking all my favorite gaming series, Zelda is number one. But Metroid and Super Mario are right up there, 2 and 3. So, you know, when it comes to 3D Mario games, when it comes to the Metroid games, they are right there for me. And, you know, there are some Metroid Prime games I may hold higher than some Zelda games. They are that good. And what's fascinating about Metroid Prime 4, if it's coming out this year, we don't know that yet, but if it is, and I could be so wrong on this, I don't know, but I'm just putting it out there because I think it's within plausibility that Metroid Prime 4, at least to me, might end up being a better game than Tears of the Kingdom. And I know that's a big thing to say, I think, because Tears of the Kingdom has objectively improved upon Breath of the Wild in a myriad of ways. Tears of the Kingdom is, I think last I checked, the fastest selling Nintendo game of all time. I mean, it has incredible scores. I think it's the highest rated game on OpenCritic ever. It's a 95 on Metacritic, one of the highest rated Switch games. It's incredible. And I'm loving Tears of the Kingdom. I'm still playing Tears of the Kingdom. I'm going to be playing Tears of the Kingdom for years, no doubt. So what I'm saying here isn't really to suggest that Tears of the Kingdom is bad in any way. It's not. It's not. Like, I wouldn't... It's possible that a few years from now, I will say, you know what? I think Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite game of all time. Like, that is possible, right? But what's interesting to me about Metroid Prime 4 is that Metroid Prime 4 is gonna one thing that it has over Tears of the Kingdom is that it is going to feel totally fresh and new by comparison, I would say. Kind of like when we first got Breath of the Wild. Like, Breath of the Wild, there was no comparison to any prior Zelda game. with Tears of the Kingdom, especially with it still being in Hyrule, there's a great deal of familiarity. And now they added a lot of things to do and enjoy, and that is there. But, you know, I'll say that with the next Zelda, I absolutely want there to be a totally new world. Because I think when there's a totally new world, that thrill of adventure and discovery is a little bit more significant. So with Metroid Prime 4, if it's of a similar quality, but it's an entirely new exotic alien world for me to adventure through and explore, it might hit me a little bit harder than Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not saying it's going to. I'm not even saying it's likely. I'm just saying that I think there is a chance that's worth mentioning. Maybe a 10% chance. You know, I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a Game of the Year candidate kind of a game. I think it's probably going to lose to Tears of the Kingdom. I think every game is probably going to lose to Tears of the Kingdom this year. And there are some good games coming out this year. But, you know, for those that necessarily who don't like Zelda, but do like adventure games, and for those that maybe want something that feels a little even more fresh and new, Metroid Prime 4 might, you know, it might be a game you prefer. So I am just putting it out there. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a big deal when it does come. Even if it is not this year, if it's next year, I think it's gonna be a big deal. Not saying it's gonna sell 30 million. I am not saying that. I'm just talking about quality here. But I do think Metroid Prime 4 is gonna be the best-selling Metroid game to date. Zugnam, will you remember me when you become big? I don't know. If you stick around, I probably will. Risky Gumalar. I want to ask why third-party games mostly flop the Nintendo console. Do they? Do you mean like in the past? It's a tough question because I think it's a case-by-case basis. I think games in general sell really well on Switch, so it ain't that. But I think that a lot of this kind of goes back to Nintendo's dominance in the late 80s and early 90s. Nintendo was so dominant, they almost had kind of like a monopoly with the NES, and they dominated the industry, and they were able to put control they had a lot more control over how third parties could put games on their systems. Do you remember the Nintendo Seal of Quality? Like there was a lot more restrictions, and once more competition came around, like Sega Genesis and eventually Sony with PlayStation 1, and they kind of gave third parties more free reign. Third parties was like, "Ooh, this is way better than Nintendo. We can still sell games and be successful on other platforms, and they're not going to hold us to the same standard Nintendo will. We're going to put our content on here." So, the way Nintendo was back in the day, because of that impacted a lot of their third-party relationships. I'm not saying it eliminated them, but it put a strain on a lot of them. So that kind of is a part of it. And then over the years, Nintendo has always kind of done different things. And then there's these other gaming companies that do their things and successfully, and they're more comparable. So basically, I mean, Sony and Microsoft, what they do is more comparable than what Nintendo does. So Nintendo creates a different style of hardware. And so to develop games for Nintendo as opposed to develop games for Sony and Microsoft, it's usually easier to develop a game for Sony and Microsoft because they tend to be more comparable in terms of specs and be able to port them over. So it's easier to focus on a game and sell it on two platforms and be more successful with that than focus on Nintendo, which just sells one. Even if the Nintendo platform sells more, it doesn't necessarily equate to those two. And then of course, especially nowadays with like PC gaming, like now, you know, a lot of PC games and Xbox and PlayStation games, like there's a lot of crossover with that. So it's often, especially, so we're really just talking about like the big AAA games. It's easier to develop a AAA game for those three different arenas than to focus on Nintendo in the sense of trying to get a lot of sales. So that may be why you see like some bias with third parties. But, you know, Nintendo over the years has made efforts to repair third-party relationships. They obviously have gotten deals done. You know, nowadays, I think you hear a lot of nice things about working with Nintendo. A lot of companies speak very highly of working with Nintendo. You know, cultures have changed, practices have changed, and I mean, the Switch is selling well, so it makes sense to put games on the Switch. But if a developer is developing, you know, something that is high-end technology, the Switch isn't that, so it's hard to get it to run appropriately. So I mean, that's a whole other hurdle. And it's a case-by-case basis, but I mean, if you look at like indie games and smaller titles that don't require as much of like a high spec range, they get to Switch, and they do well. So I think that's also why people want to see a Switch 2, because that's gonna be more powerful, and some higher-end third-party games will be on the Switch. Like, for example, I'm a big Resident Evil fan. I haven't played Resident Evil 4 yet, the remake. I just haven't gone around to it, mainly for time reasons. But, you know, if I could play that portably sometimes, I might be more willing. In other words, if there was a Switch 2 and Resident Evil 4 was ported over to that and it still looked pretty good, I would consider getting it for Switch 2 instead of, like, you know, a PlayStation. So, you know, and I'm not the only one who feels that way. There are third-party games that people would like to have on Switch 2. Now, is it a huge market? I don't think it's a huge market, but, you know, enough that it's worth mentioning. Dark Shadow Rage. Yo, Andres, how goes it? I'm doing well. Hear me out. What if, you might call me crazy, but what if we got a Super Metroid HD remake? I'd love it. I'd be okay with that. I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't think we're getting that this year. Unless you know something. Are you trying to tell me something? Because supposedly there is a Super Nintendo game that is being remade. So what if it's not Chrono Trigger or Mario RPG and it's Super Metroid? That would be sick. I think that'd be so cool. I mean, you look at Metroid Dread, right? Like that's amazing. So a Super Metroid that's remade in a way that looks like Metroid Dread, that would be so damn cool. But I don't think that's coming out this year, because I think Metroid Prime 4 is the focus. But in the future, yeah, bring it. I would love a Super Metroid remake. I would love a Metroid Fusion remake event. Like, remake them all. Do it. Remake them all. You know, little by little, every few years, give us another one. Inquisitor Raid. Gonna hold out for that Prime 4 Switch 2 bundle. I think there probably will be some sort of update for the game. I think the same thing with Tears of the Kingdom. Mr. Biscuits. Zelda and Ganondorf amiibos. So that is an interesting point to bring up, because we did see that data mine for Zelda and Ganondorf amiibos and Tears of the Kingdom. It may be cut content, but if it's not, maybe those amiibos are announced in this direct tomorrow. And perhaps alongside some free DLC updates, maybe they announce the DLC plans. That could be something that pops up tomorrow. They recently announced that they have a reprint of a few Zelda amiibo. So they definitely are pushing amiibo for Tears of the Kingdom. Thomas Hill, Metroid Prime 4, please. Yes, please. Give us the Metroid Prime 4. I would very much appreciate it. Let me check something here. Of course, my FaceTime doesn't work. I was trying to see if someone reached me. No. Alright, we're good. Alright, cool. BRX Authority. Nintendo does whatever it feels like, that is true. And it's hard to predict. Hello there, Sean Castle Singer. How are you? Kieran, this might sound entitled, but I believe Nintendo owes us an actual update on Prime 4 after 6 years of waiting. I guess I want to be cautious about using the word "owe." You know, like it's their game, it's their property. They can do what they want with it. They're entitled to that. But I think it would be healthy for the Metroid fan base if they were to show Prime 4 this year. And this year doesn't mean tomorrow. But I do feel like with all this hype and with what they did with Prime Remastered and the different little things, I think if it's not shown tomorrow, there will be some blowback. I predict that if Metroid Prime 4 does not show up tomorrow, there will be people mad at me. Even though I haven't promised that Prime 4 will come out tomorrow, I'm personally predicting it, but I don't know. But yes, I don't, like I said, I don't want to say Nintendo owes it, but like if they want to really foster a good excitement level for Metroid, I think that is probably it's probably a good idea to show off Metroid Prime 4 soon. Like it just makes sense for like Metroid Prime 4 to be shown off soon. Like Metroid Prime 4 is, this could be a perspective issue. Like I know some people look at it differently, but Metroid Prime 4 has been a game that was announced back in 2017. They had to restart back in 2019. We haven't heard anything. I know some people have canceled their pre-orders. It's been such a long time. I think that showing something about the game will restore faith in it. They gave us a teaser for Tears of the Kingdom E3 2019. Game didn't come out till, a month, like 5 weeks ago. So it took them a long time, but they still gave us stuff in between. Now, after the first couple trailers in the first couple of years, they waited till close towards the end to start to really, drill up the hype, like very close to the end, and they got us worried. So, I mean, you could argue that Nintendo of today doesn't feel that they need to show off too much until they're just a few months away from release. I think there's a lot of truth to that. But I also think that in the case of Metroid Prime 4, they should give us an update. It's not like Nintendo doesn't give us updates on some games a year in advance. Look at Splatoon, for example. They did it for that one. And obviously with Tears of the Kingdom. And I think Metroid should also be considered as well. So I think that, yes, they should. But even if Metroid Prime 4 is, let's say, like not coming out till sometime next year, I think they should give us an update this year. King Frost. I'm not a huge Metroid fan, but I feel for the fan base. You need Metroid Prime 4 now. If it released end of year, there should be a teaser tomorrow. Yeah. No, if it's coming out this year, it's like 100% going to be in the Direct tomorrow. If it's not coming out this year, then it might not be in the Direct tomorrow, but it also still could be, because if it's coming out early, like it's a big game, so they may want to kind of drill up hype for it over time. Then, as I just talked about, it may make sense to kind of just remind people that this still exists. Like, don't give up on it. Mr. Biscuits, way too soon for Tears of the Kingdom DLC. You know what? I think that's an interesting thought. So let me put up the first poll here. I'm curious how you guys feel. How long should Nintendo wait to announce paid TOTK DLC? TOTK being Tears of the Kingdom. Tomorrow's Direct. September. I'll add a couple more options. Sometime next year. Never. Alright. How long should Nintendo wait to announce paid Tears of the Kingdom DLC? Tomorrow's Direct, September Direct, sometime next year. Never. I'm curious what you guys think. Let me check something here. I did not. I saw that it was running an ad. I did not pick that. I don't know why it's doing that. Trying to see if I can turn it off. Oh well. I'm sorry. If there's ads, I'm sorry. I did not pick that. All right, let's see where we're at right now. So, okay, looking at the poll so far, 34 votes are in. Most of you still think tomorrow's direct is the time, but it is interesting to see. A lot of people feel that they should wait until September. Some think sometime next year. Some think never. Okay, cool. I'll come back to this poll in a bit. If only I could see the chat. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. So where was I? Oh, okay. I got a few membership renewals here. Samuel A renewing their membership. Been a member for 5 months. Do you see a reality where Nintendo comes out with that 2D Mario and it's a launch title for Switch 2 along with Prime 4? Yeah, and wacko reality. Oh, no. I don't see that. Like, I mean, would it be... I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. You know, there was a time where 2D Mario made sense as a launch title for a Nintendo system. And that was before 3D games existed. When they launched the 2D Mario with Wii U, that was a terrible idea. I played that game. I 100%ed that game. I enjoyed New Super Mario Bros. Wii U, but New Super Mario Bros. U, yeah. But that was not a good launch title for the Wii U. A launch title is something that should showcase what the system can really do. It should be something where people are like, oh, I can't play this experience anywhere else. I need this system. New Super Mario Bros. U was basically more of the same, just in HD. Yes, they had some gamepad integration, but it was nothing. It was gimmicky. It was nothing crazy. It wasn't a huge seller. It wasn't that exciting. They needed a 3D Mario game. They needed an HD 3D Mario game. That's what would have blown people away. Now, with what you're saying, you're talking about 2D Mario and Metroid Prime 4 together. It's like a combo. Metroid is unproven when it comes to like really pushing sales. So I don't know how much it would make sense to use Metroid Prime 4 as a launch title for a next-gen system. As a mid-gen refresh, as they did with Metroid Dread for the Switch OLED, that's a little different. I really think that if Nintendo's gonna have like a big launch title, there's only a few IP that they can use that would be smart. One of them is 3D Mario. Another is 3D Zelda. Maybe Smash. Maybe Mario Kart. Those are the 4. There's nothing else that I think Nintendo should use as a launch title for a next generation system. I think anything else, you're risking too much. Like Metroid Prime 4, I think from a quality perspective, compares to those games I just mentioned, but it doesn't have the pool. It doesn't attract as much people, or historically it hasn't. So I don't think that's a good idea. But, you know, I could be wrong. DW for Smash has also renewed their membership. Thank you. I'm glad you guys have been around this long. Guys, if you could like the stream, that'd be super helpful. I see we have about 120-ish people watching, which is awesome. Thank you for being here. But we have about 30 likes. So if we could get to 100 likes by the end of the stream, that would be fantastic. So if you could like the stream, it's super helpful. AB James, should we all be getting our hopes up for a new 2D Mario game? I don't know. You know what? Let's dig into that. Should we be getting our hopes up for a new 2D Mario announcement tomorrow? I think the answer is yes. I'm going to explain why. So, let me see if I can find the source on this. Do I have it pulled up yet? Doesn't look like it. All right, just give me a second. I'm going to pull this up. All right, cool. It looks like I had it in the description for my video earlier today. Okay. All right, I'm going to pull this up for you guys in a moment. I'm gonna just show it with you. Okay. Delete this. All right. Let's see. It would be, I think, is it screen capture? Yeah. There we go. Okay. So, there's this Twitter user known as Pioro. Okay? Can you guys still hear me? Yes, you guys can still hear me. All right. And he said on June 19th, so yesterday, in case you were wondering, I don't know why he does that. I don't know if that means anything, but in case you were wondering what games will be announced in this week's Nintendo Direct, he brought up two. A new 2D Super Mario Bros., a remake of an SNES classic. So this is where the new 2D Mario thing has come in. Now, one thing he says with confidence, this week's Direct before it was even officially confirmed. So you could argue, oh, maybe he got lucky, but let's just look at his source, dude. Trust me. Everybody 1-2 Pikmin. Let me tell you what the correct emojis are. What? Oh, wait. What is this? Is this like a tease for 2D Mario? Yeah, Marker Mario is probably a fake leaker, but I don't know. Maybe not. 2D Mario level themes. Star, like space, flowers, square, purple square. That's hard to figure out. But I can kind of maybe gauge what he's suggesting, but that's I'm not sure. But anyway, I want to kind of scroll through. The point is, this person has announced things in the past, and they have been true. Nintendo will announce a new first-party game this week, which is a sequel to a game released in 2017. This is on May 29th. So, let me see here. When was Everybody 1-2 Switch announced? When was it announced? If I search Twitter. Okay, so it was announced on June 2nd. Yep. It was announced on June 2nd, looks like. So yeah, this was announced, or June 1st, I guess. Okay, so June 1st, and he said this on May 29th. So he was correct on that. Here, a new Samba de Amigo, which was from the February Nintendo Direct, he announced that. So if you just kind of look through, he has a history of announcing things before they're announced, and he's correct. Like, so he knows things. I'm giving this person a follow. Anyway, I'll come back to my face now. Where were we? Yeah, so this person seems credible, right? Like, so that right there should maybe give you at least some pause for, oh, maybe he's right, because there's a track record and it's continually being proven correct. But we go back to the Variety interview with Shigeru Miyamoto. It was an interview about the Mario movie, but towards the end of the interview, Miyamoto, keep in mind, the Variety interview is like a mainstream. It's like reaching a large audience. Right? It's not like a gaming press site. So they interviewed Miyamoto about the Mario movie, talking about the Mario movie. At the end, they asked him, when should we expect the next Mario game announcement? And he said, stay tuned for future Nintendo Directs. And I've gotten pushback on this about it meaning anything, but I think it did mean something, because it was basically suggesting, yes, in the next few Nintendo Directs there will be Mario announcements. And while that may seem like a no-brainer for some, keep in mind that this interview was reaching a larger audience, and there's a lot of people watching the Mario movie that are going to give new Mario games a try. So, point is, it was kind of a tease towards the next Nintendo Direct having a Mario game. He could have just said, "Oh well, you know, there's going to be that we're always working on new Mario, something will be announced eventually. No, he pointed attention to the next Nintendo Direct. So more people are going to pay attention to this Nintendo Direct for a new Mario release because they are excited from the Mario movie. That's the plan. And so with that in mind, a new Mario game should be announced. Doesn't have to be 2D Mario, but maybe. Now, I've thought that if we're not going to get 3D Mario, we're going to get either like a 2D Mario or some sort of Mario platforming adventure game that isn't quite 2D or 3D, something in between. That'll be multiplayer centric, but 2D Mario is fine. It's something like that, right? So, point is that if Switch 2 is not coming out this year, they're going to save the 3D Mario for that, and they still should have something Mario to come out this year, and we're overdue for a 2D Mario game. When you consider that, and then just what this person is saying here and their track record, I think that there's a pretty good bet that 2D Mario is getting announced tomorrow, and I honestly would be surprised otherwise. 2D Mario is more likely than Metroid tomorrow. So, yeah, it's happening. I think it's happening. You never know for sure, so do take it with a grain of salt, but if there's any safe bet, it's probably that. It's probably 2D Mario. Man Cub Studios 34. Do you think we'll see an F-Zero remake in the direction tomorrow by Sega? Do you think we'll see an F-Zero remake? I see, when I saw, because I saw the F and then the number 0, I got thrown off. I don't think it's by Sega. I think Next Level Games is the studio that's been working on this F-Zero remake, which is a Nintendo studio. And because it's the Nintendo studio, a big one that makes big games, I think this actually suggests that it's actually like a significant remaster, like something that's gonna look almost like a remake with maybe like online play, maybe some new content. So I think it's gonna be a big deal kind of game. I mean, that's a relative point. Like as big deal as, you know, Advance Wars or Xenoblade or Fire Emblem, like it's gonna be a fun game for. I mean, maybe Advance Wars even smaller than that, but F-Zero might be smaller than those. It's gonna be in that realm, like the B tier Nintendo title, but like it's gonna have us hyped, like hardcore Nintendo fan. We're gonna be excited about it. So I think it's Next Level Games, but you know, F-Zero GX was made by Sega, so it's gonna be F-Zero GX just redone, so it's still gonna have that Sega spirit in there. Having hope. Do you think we'll ever get Xenoblade Chronicles X for Switch? I love how you guys are always putting these acronyms. There's so many. And, I mean, we know what they are, right? It's just kind of like a random thought for me. It's like, man, there's so many acronyms we use, but we know what each of them are, right? Like, a random person coming up, like, what would be XCX? Or what would be F-Zero? Like, you know, it's just kind of funny. But, or TOTK. I don't know, having hope, to be honest, though, about Xenoblade Chronicles X coming to Switch. I don't know. It almost feels like we've missed the boat, but on the flip side, I think that the next 2 to 3 years for Switch could be an opportunity for a lot of games to get remastered or ported that wouldn't have otherwise. So it's possible. I'm just not sure. And it you know, something that's interesting though is that Xenoblade Chronicles X kind of, when you beat the game, it's left in a bit of a cliffhanger. Like there's definitely more story to be told. And I think Xenoblade Chronicles X is a very hyped game. Like I think if they were to release something like that again, maybe if it's a new game with a similar direction or something, like it would do well. Potentially better than the normal Xenoblade series, like at least compared to it. So it may be the case that maybe whenever they decide they want to follow that story, they'll bring out Xenoblade Chronicles X as a reminder and they'll port or remaster it, maybe. I don't know what the timeline would be on that. I think that Nintendo, not well, it is Nintendo, but Monolith Soft, their next big game is being saved for the next gen. That new IP they've been working on for years, I think that's when we're going to see it. Now, how that ties into Xenoblade Chronicle export, like if that new IP is in any way story related, they're going to drop it for sure. If it's not, then I'm not sure. But I think there's definitely hope within the next 2 to 3 years. I think I missed this question from earlier. Nexus Vids. If there is a Tears of the Kingdom DLC, do you think it'll be included with Nintendo Switch Online? That is a very interesting question. I'm trying to think. I want to say no. I think they can make money off of it. I think maybe they could add it down the road, but I think initially they may not have it for free. Because I'm just trying to think, like, did they, like the Fire Emblem DLC, they didn't add that. The Xenoblade DLC, they didn't add that. Splatoon 3 DLC, which is actually maybe one of the best comparisons, that's not free with NSO. Splatoon 2 DLC is. Mario Kart DLC is. But Animal Crossing's DLC was new, and that is free. So that there is some precedent for a new game having free DLC through NSO. So it's a tough call. I would say sales-wise, Tears of the Kingdom is going to compare to Animal Crossing. I mean, it's going to be a closer comparison than Splatoon, at least. So it's... maybe. I think basically... excuse me. I think it basically comes down to... Does Nintendo need something to add more value to the service? So, if we get to a point where the Mario Kart DLC is done, they're gonna announce something else. So, like for example, this September Direct, I think there will be some type of DLC something that may be for free, and that may be Tears of the Kingdom DLC. Which, if that is the case, maybe you could think, oh, maybe they won't announce it yet. Maybe they'll wait till September. That's possible. It's possible, but I'm not convinced in either direction. Giancarlo, Andres, if Metroid Prime 4 is a no-show tomorrow, they can show the game in the September Nintendo Direct. They could. Yeah, like, just because, even if we don't see the game tomorrow, that doesn't mean it's not, they can just show in the next Direct. Like, you're totally right. But I think tomorrow, like, if the game is coming out this year, it's gonna be in the Direct tomorrow, right? So, like, if we don't see it tomorrow, then it's not coming out this year. But we could still see it later this year. Let's see, I think Samuel provided a super chat a little while ago. Thank you for that super chat, buddy. Samuel asks, what if the 2D Mario is like Metroid? Fireflies melt ice blocking path, also maybe a single level that has 200-ish checkpoints for the whole game. Oh, so you mean like a Metroidvania style 2D Mario game. So like an open world 2D Mario game. That would be really cool. That might make the multiplayer element a little bit different. I mean, you could still do multiplayer. They would just spawn in wherever you're at. The level design would have to be, I mean, they have to factor that in, right? Like Metroidvanias are really well crafted, finely tuned worlds. So the multiplayer element of 2D Mario games, like, they can be very hectic, and they have these linear levels. Whatever the 2D, like, first off, I don't need my Mario games to be multiplayer. Like, when it comes to, like, like, sure, Mario Party, yes, Mario Kart, yes. But in terms of 3D Mario and 2D Mario, I don't need those to be multiplayer. I am totally okay with them being single-player experiences. So, if it was Metroidvania style, that'd be amazing. I don't know what to expect for this 2D Mario. I do hope they do something that would make it feel fresh, and that might be one way to do it. All right, moving through the chat. Blakebot, Super Mario Galaxy 2. I would love to see us Mario Galaxy 2 come to Switch. I don't know. I don't like. There's nothing that tells me, oh yeah, Mario Galaxy 2 is getting announced soon. Like, I think that at some point Nintendo should revisit Galaxy 2 and bring it to Switch or Switch 2. Like, I totally think that. I think it's a great game, but I don't know when they would, you know? So I'm not going to predict it. I'm not expecting it, but maybe I think at some point or another it could come. I think first we should see Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy be made available separately from 3D All-Stars. When that starts to happen, I think Galaxy 2, the door opens for that coming soon. If not at the same time. Narwhal Gaming. Sooner than it's taken for us to see anything about Elden Ring DLC. That's in reference to the Tears of the Kingdom DLC. How, like, where's the poll at? It's been a little bit. So the poll's been up for 21 minutes. We've gotten 129 votes. Should I end it? Yes, I'm gonna end the poll. You know what? All right, I'm gonna give it another couple minutes. I'm gonna end it in 3 minutes. I'm gonna ask, go check a couple more questions here. So, guys, if you haven't joined the poll yet, do the poll now. Put in your opinion, because I'm gonna put up a new poll that I think will be interesting as well. So I'll give it a couple of minutes just so people are aware. Put in your votes. Let's get the tally in. I'll continue with the chat here while we wait. Paladinaries, Andres, would you rather a Switch Pro, Switch 2, or a console generation that's brand new and separate? I think that depends on what the console generation would be, like the brand new one. Because I'm honestly leaning just straight up Switch 2. And I think that this is because I want Nintendo to succeed, and I think that at this point, they should just enter the realm of not being too crazy about their rebrands. Like, you know, like, we don't need another Nintendo Wii. You know, it's like every generation. Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo DS, Nintendo 3DS, Wii U. Like, it's always kind of something weird. I think most people will be okay with them just doing Switch 2. Switch 3, Switch 4. Look at PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. Look at iPhone. iPhone 1, 2, 3, 10. Like, people know what it is. Like, there's no confusion about what that is. And I think back to what happened between the Wii and the Wii U, and there's a number of problems. But one of the problems was the branding. A lot of people were confused about what it actually was. You just put a number, people know, oh, that's the next Switch. Okay, I get it. Good. I'm ready for the next one. Let's go. Now, I understand, what if they want to do something new? Well, you can still innovate the Switch 2. As long as the Switch 2 is still basically a Switch where it's a system that can you know, it switches seamlessly between home console and portable modes, then they can carry that branding and still innovate in different ways. And that's what the marketing needs to do. The same way when there's a new iPhone, they're like, oh, well, now there's magnetic charging, which, by the way, I think the innovations for iPhone, it's played out. But that's what I just think makes the most sense until Nintendo can think of something that's just straight up better. If they can't think of anything that just straight up outclasses Switch in every way and it's easy to convince people of that, then don't do that. And it may take some time. The technology may need to catch up. Things may need to advance more before whatever that idea would be that would totally outclass Switch comes around. And until then, just ride the Switch wave. Give us a Switch 2. If we're still not there, give us a Switch 3. I'm okay with that. Sony does so well by doing that. People understand the messaging. So that's what I think they should do. Unless they got something crazy, you know, like we can play video games in our dreams or something. Like, otherwise, no. Spheromancer. There's no way Metroid is a no-show, in my opinion. Either Prime 4 or Prime 2 Shadow Drop. Or both. Maybe both. Maybe both. Mathis Group. Or is it Mathis or Mathis? Give me Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, and I'm happy. You know, I don't know if Paper Mario is getting announced tomorrow, but I have an increasing optimism that Paper Mario 1000 Year Door is gonna. I mean, it's been, people have talked about it, it's been rumored, but I actually saw Nate the Hate's podcast earlier, and he said he heard that a Paper Mario, there is a Paper Mario game being remade. Now he doesn't know which one that is, but I mean, if you're gonna tell me a Paper Mario game is being remade, I think most of us know what it should be. It's 1000 Year Door. So I'm thinking, yeah, 1000 Year Door is gonna. Now I'm not saying it comes out this year. I don't know. But I think 1000 Year Door is eventually gonna come, and I mean, you know, I think it makes so much sense. Sean Castlesinger. How many farming simulators tomorrow? Number prediction. 3. I predict there will be 3 farming simulators tomorrow. Alright, so where's the poll at? Alright, it's been 27 minutes, 143 votes. Let's end the poll. That's good enough. Alright. Because I'm ready to start the next poll. Alright, let's see. Okay, so the results are in. 143 votes. The percentage with these YouTube polls are always like a percent off, but in the least likely choice, that 7% of those 143 votes said sometime next year is when Nintendo should announce the paid Tears of the Kingdom DLC. In the second most likely choice, 11% of those 143 votes said never. The third option, which is pretty significant, 38% said that Nintendo should announce their Tears of the Kingdom DLC in the next September Nintendo Direct. But the winner, by a little bit of a margin, at 42%, said tomorrow's Direct is when Nintendo should announce the Tears of the Kingdom DLC, the paid DLC. I want to point out that in my predictions yesterday, and I realized I did like today's video is almost like kind of predictions too. Like I understand that, but I think that I think there's a great chance that some sort of update to Tears of the Kingdom will be announced tomorrow. I don't know if it's gonna be paid. I mean, I don't know anything, but I think that we could get a Tears of the Kingdom DLC announcement tomorrow, and it isn't paid, and then maybe they announce paid DLC later. So we'll see. But it is. I think it's likely that's going to happen, because when you consider every single published Nintendo title on Switch, every Nintendo game on Switch that isn't like a port or remaster has gotten some level of DLC. There's a very few exceptions. Everybody want to Switch. That's maybe one of them. But yeah, it's very rare. Now there have been some that there are some games that don't have paid DLC but still got DLC, like Super Mario Odyssey, but that was in 2017. I think that odds are Tears of the Kingdom will get paid DLC. In terms of when, well, Breath of the Wild's DLC was announced before it came out. Yeah, as Jai said, I think the fact that Breath of the Wild's DLC was announced a month before its release in 2017, it could be any time, to be honest. It could be any time. And my take has been that they want to kind of position the Tears of the Kingdom DLC for its waves to release sometime within the Switch 2 window, because they may want to kind of line up a major Tears of the Kingdom update, maybe with also like a graphics patch for Switch 2, so they can be like an updated version. So that could tie into the announcement timing for the Tears of the Kingdom DLC. So maybe we don't get the paid DLC announced tomorrow because they want to kind of wait until Switch 2 is ready. But that also but when is Switch 2 ready, right? So there's obviously a lot of ifs there that we don't totally understand. All right. So I'm going to put up the next poll. I was curious on this one, right? And you know, I was talking to some buddies, and I've seen some prediction videos. It feels that the Metroid fan base, at least to the people I've spoken to and heard from, is a bit divided on Prime 4 showing up tomorrow. So I'm gonna just ask you guys: will Metroid Prime 4 be in the show tomorrow in any way? It's a yes or no. I believe you guys are smart, because I remember last time there was a Nintendo Direct, I was a little bit wishy-washy on it. I was kind of hoping for it, but I put up the poll, and most of you said it was going to happen. And Nintendo announced it that week, and it happened. So, chat, tell me the truth. Tell me what's going to happen. Is Prime 4 being announced tomorrow? Reveal the truth to me. I want to know. I'll leave this one up for a little bit. And it's back and forth. It's like 60-40. It's like a presidential election. It could swing the other way. Now, something I'm going to say about the Prime 4 thing. I would just want to point out that I think there is a bias in wanting, like, we want to see it, right? So try to be objective about it. But I think there's also, it goes both ways, though. I think there's also negative bias. I think sometimes we tell ourselves, oh, no, there's no way. Oh, no, there's no way. Because we don't want to be disappointed. Like, I think there's positive and negative bias. So try to be as objective as possible. And I know that's hard. It's impossible to be unbiased. Anyone who says they're unbiased is lying. But you can try, right? You can try to be as fair as you can. When I think about it, when I try to, like, I'm going to try and be objective about this. I'm really going to try. Let me just kind of state some things that are the case that I think are relevant. Metroid Prime 4 is still seeing job hirings. Now, those job hirings, in my opinion, don't really tell us that much on where they are in development, because hirings happen late into development, all throughout, before, middle, even after. Because guess what? There likely will be some level of support and content creation after the game comes out. Because, like most Nintendo games, there will be DLC. So, even if, you know, this, just two things. So even if this DLC, these hirings aren't for DLC, hirings can happen towards the end of development, like near the end. We've seen this before. So I don't think the hirings really tell us one way or the other. Now, I did hear early in the year that Metroid Prime 4 is basically done. They're just kind of like, you know, QA testing, polishing it up. Which lines up with the Prime Remaster release earlier this year and the way it came out. To me, that felt like a sign that, oh, Metroid Prime 4 is nearly complete. Okay, let's push out Prime Remaster now. That's what it felt like. I think Prime Remastered coming out when it did is because they're trying to get that out quickly, because they're going to start to advertise Prime 4 and build that up. And you don't want Prime Remastered to get in the way of that, or vice versa. So push out Prime Remastered, pushing out the way they did, I think was a sign for that. But let's try and, like, is it possible that maybe it wouldn't be a sign for that? Like why would they release Prime Remastered in the way they did without Prime 4 not being nearby, because they Shadow Drop Prime Remastered. It came out in the same week as Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Like, I don't think they needed to do that. I don't know why they shoved in both those games then. I think that I think I'm right. But also, you know, Nintendo does weird things sometimes. They just do stuff sometimes. But it did feel to me like they were just trying to get it out because, oh, we're running out of windows of when we should come out with it. So that's when they put it out then. And then going beyond that, I mean, Nate the Hate has heard that Metroid Prime 4 is coming out by the end of the fiscal year, and he's a reliable insight. It hasn't always gotten everything right because sometimes plans change. There can be some misinformation, but he's been pretty consistent and correct. And he was hinting at a June Direct, and we're getting a June Direct, right? So I think that I think there's a good chance that it's tomorrow. I mean, we've seen like Nintendo of UK trying to gauge interest for Metroid Prime 4. After Pikmin 4, we don't know about any like Metroid Prime 4 is the last Nintendo Switch game. So like if we were gonna sit here and talk about new games getting announced, like Prime 4's been in development for years. For years, it's the only game we actually know about, and there's 5 months that Nintendo needs to fill up with this Direct. So, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, I feel like, yeah, okay, well, the one game that we do know about, and there's 5 months of worth of games that Nintendo needs to kind of announce for in this Direct, that kind of makes sense. Like, I think some people are assuming that it's all going to be new stuff that is unannounced yet. Maybe. I mean, you don't know for sure. But I guess I'm kind of thinking that Metroid Prime 4 could come out this year. And maybe that's not going to happen. Maybe that's why I'm kind of gung-ho on it being announced in this Direct, because I think it's a holiday release, but it might not be, in which case they could save it for September. But I'm just gonna go for it. Metroid Prime 4 this year. Where is the chat at, or the poll at? So 6 minutes in, 70 votes, 60% are saying yes, 40% are saying no. I'll leave it there for a little bit. Sean Castle, would Stardew Valley be on an Indie Direct or on the main one because it's a #1 seller on Switch? I think it can go either way. Well, actually, like, you know what? I think Stardew Valley more likely would be in a general Nintendo Direct. I think that it is popular enough to kind of get its own spotlight, and it would actually, yeah, I think Stardew Valley would be in a normal Nintendo Direct. Risky, you ask this stuff all the time, dude. And Risky asks, what's your opinion on Final Fantasy 16 and Starfield killing Tears of the Kingdom hype right now? Tears of the Kingdom hype is not dead. Not dead at all. For example, JK1029, loved your retcon video, just found you yesterday. Welcome, JK1029. Like, yeah, it's, you know, Zelda theory videos are doing well. People are talking about Zelda. People are still playing Zelda. Zelda is like, it's the fastest selling Nintendo game ever, last I checked. So, like, that's not killing hype. It's just not. Tears of the Kingdom is done really well. We really couldn't have asked for any more in terms of success for this game. Having hope. I did see your question on Xenoblade Chronicles X. Did you not hear my response? I think that maybe it'll come out, but I think probably within the next 3 years, and most likely, like, you know, when they have another Xenoblade game that's going to tell the story of that. Dragon Chi, what do you think the SNES Classic remake is going to be? Assuming it's genuine, some say Chrono Trigger, some say Mario RPG. I think Chrono Trigger is more likely. I think Chrono Trigger is more likely. We get a lot of Square Enix games. We see a lot of Square Enix remakes and remasters. It's kind of fits. you know, Super Mario RPG has been kind of one of those things that like it's really like the rights kind of get in the way of stuff. So if I had to bet, I would say Chrono Trigger, but I'll be happy either way because I think both games are amazing. So I'm fine either way. I would, you know, just I guess the thing is with it being a remake, like how cool is it gonna look, you know? Like that might be interesting. And the Mario RPG thing, like maybe it is being used to kind of tie into the popular Mario movie. It's tough. It's tough. Chrono Trigger is something that seems easier, but Mario RPG seems well timed. It's hard for me to pick. I think supposedly that this Pyoro person was liking a lot of tweets related to Mario RPG. The person that was saying there was going to be a SNES Classic. I'm looking up his likes now. See if they pop up for me. The likes don't necessarily mean anything. He could just be liking something he wants, and doesn't mean it's going to happen. Of course, now the likes won't load. Huh. I'm looking at the tweets, seeing. He is liking he's liking several Super Mario RPG tweets. So this person is breaking news. The likes might suggest Super Mario RPG. That hasn't liked anything Chrono Trigger related, but just because that may just be that they want Super Mario RPG. That doesn't mean that it's happening. Made this 70% likely Metroid Prime is there. Thank you. Sylvia says yes. Kryptonite Crunch going with yes. Okay. D Fox, Prime 4 is going to be on the next system? What are you saying? Samuel, Prime 4 isn't 100% showing up tomorrow, but if I had to bet on, I would say yes. How about you? I mean, my prediction is yes. I'm trying to will it into existence. John Carlos, September Direct will be the reveal of Metroid Prime 4 for a holiday 2024 release. That would be pretty far off. Let's see here. King Frost, Metro gonna get the Breath of the Wild treatment and drop it for Switch 1 and Switch 2 on Switch 2 release day. I know a lot of people buy into the cross-gen release thing. A lot of people do. I haven't bought into that, but I do think there'll be a Prime 4 update for Switch 2. And maybe that's why there's kind of like a bit of a divide here, because a lot of people think that Prime 4 is tied to next-gen Switch, which is why they don't think Prime 4 could show up tomorrow. So, I mean, it's interesting. Like, assume that Prime 4 is just going to release for Switch and not Switch 2. Do you still think it's not showing up tomorrow? But, of course, you may think it's going to be a cross-gen thing. I'm 100% convinced that 3D Mario is a launch title. So, doing like a cross-gen launch day thing, I don't see happening. I kind of see... now, that doesn't mean they can't... For example, if let's say Metroid Prime 4 doesn't come out till holiday 2024, they could do a thing where, say, like Switch 2 comes out summer next year with 3D Mario, then in the holidays, Metroid Prime 4 comes out for Switch and Switch 2. Maybe. In which case, yeah, I would see why you wouldn't think that it would be shown off tomorrow. But Nate the Hate thinks Metroid Prime 4 is coming out by the end of the fiscal year. So, if you believe Nate the Hate, it's getting shown off soon, and we're not waiting until holiday 2024. But, you know, plans can change. Things can be misheard. Samuel A. with another super chat. Thank you for that super chat, buddy. Samuel A. asks, what if next gen is hinted at in this direct? For example, Prime 4 release window is announced for Switch and it cuts to the code name for next gen. That's not going to happen. I don't think Nintendo's going to do any obvious teasing of Switch 2. But I don't know. Maybe. I'm gonna be watching the Direct tomorrow. I'm gonna be keeping my eyes peeled. You know, I love to try and overanalyze everything. So maybe, but I don't think so. Nothing obvious, at least. But release timing for some games might be telling. It's possible. Joyce J. Woo! Hey, Andres. Off work and tired. Excited for the Direct tomorrow. Yes, the Direct. I'm very excited for the Direct. Very excited for the. Tomorrow is gonna be a good time. By the way, we're gonna live stream the Direct tomorrow. We're gonna start an hour before the show. Brandon will be coming on at some point. I'm getting excited. Maybe I should get like snacks. Maybe I'll get like Starbucks or Panera Bread. And I mean, I have cake. I just want to like. I don't know. I'm getting excited just like thinking about getting snacks and just being ready for this tomorrow in the morning. It's be cool. Kryptonite Crunch. Yep, proof of that. NetherRealm Studios is hiring, and yet Mortal Kombat 1 comes out in September. Yeah. I think I saw something like that. So when was the last time we saw hiring from? Like a month ago? And it's coming out September. So, you know, if Metroid Prime 4 is coming out October or November, same difference. Like that, it doesn't mean it can't come out this year. And even if it's coming out sometime early, if it's coming out March of next year, still could get teased in a Direct tomorrow. The Joker. Could Nintendo do a cross-gen release for Metroid in March alongside a Switch 2? Announce them both tomorrow for early next year. That'll be the end of the fiscal year. I'd be okay with that. Like, I think that would be cool. But, one, I think 3D Mario is going to be the launch title. So, that kind of makes that challenging to do. But also, two, the 2024 camp hasn't really been on about Switch 2 coming out at the end of the fiscal year. Like, for example, Nikkei saying that maybe we see it as soon as midway through next year, which means potentially even later. Now, I don't know. You know, it's tough. Like, maybe Nintendo doesn't really have to hold to that fiscal year timing, right? Like, what if Switch 2 comes out? Maybe Switch 2 does come out by the end of the fiscal year. Comes out March with 3D Mario. And then in May, we see Metroid Prime 4. Like, that could happen. Either way, it would be less than a year away from 2 major releases, which would be insane. I don't know if we're going to be that lucky. Especially if 2D Mario is coming out this holiday. I don't think 3D Mario will come out that soon. Could, but I just don't think it would. King Frost. I feel in Metroid Prime 4 choosing Mario, they need a holiday banger, and I don't see a new 3D Mario till Switch 2. Maybe Donkey Kong 3. Like, yeah, I mean, Donkey Kong is something that could, if it's not Metroid Prime 4, maybe a Donkey Kong game to kind of hit like that hardcore big adventure niche, if you want to call it niche, but that just kind of to appeal to that part of the Nintendo fan base. That makes sense. I can see that. Guy you don't know. It's been over 2 years since Prime 4 was last mentioned. Also, the rumors about it being complete or anything to go off. I don't see Nintendo sitting on it for much longer. Okay. How many votes are we at with Metroid Prime 4? We're at 88 votes. Okay. I'm going to wait till we... I mean, it's only been up for 17 minutes. I had the Tears of the Kingdom poll up for like 27 minutes. So it's only fair I leave the Prime 4 up one for a little bit longer. Let's see here. Raskolnikov. I think video game journalism is a disaster, so I don't care much about these aggregates. It's also not a fair metric to compare games. I think numbers can be a little arbitrary. I do sometimes look at them to do victory laps for games I care about, which is slightly hypocritical. I recognize that. But, you know, like Tears of the Kingdom being a 95, Breath of the Wild being a 97, that doesn't mean one is worse than the other. It really doesn't. See here. Joyce J. Breath of the Wild trilogy reveal with Tears of the Kingdom DLC, which will bring back cast, I wish. So, I'm open to the idea of Tears of the Kingdom having a significant story expansion. And if you want to consider that to be like the third entry in the series where they tell another major story with the DLC, I think that that's totally feasible. For sure. I think the DLC for Tears of the Kingdom, when it does come, is going to be something bigger and better than we got for Breath of the Wild. Maybe even with a new area to explore. That would be nice. Having hope. You won't be able to watch the direct tomorrow. That's okay. You'll see the good stuff eventually. Brandon the Persona Pony. What did you miss? We just doing, asking questions. Earlier I was asking if when you guys think Tears of the Kingdom DLC should be announced, with it, is it going to be tomorrow, September, next year, or never? And most people picked. 42% picked tomorrow, 38% picked September, 7% picked next year, 11% said never. Joycey, I just hope they continue the story and not more memories. Like more of a linear told story. Yeah, I mean, I like the memories, but I hear what you're saying there. Like, let's not, we can move away from the memories. I agree. Mario DK, or maybe the Zelda team is all hands on deck for Nintendo Switch 2 to get something out by 2027. Yeah. I just don't think the Zelda team will finish the next Zelda by 2027. I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. But that's not what the pattern suggests. Lyric Bread. The third installment could be an Animal Crossing type of game where you rebuild Hyrule. So when Breath of the Wild came out and we were talking about DLC, we were talking about that rebuilding Hyrule. Then once we learned more about Tears of the Kingdom, we were talking about that being rebuilding Hyrule. And while they were rebuilding Hyrule, it wasn't part of what we could do, really. So I feel like we might get to the point where we're like, oh, well, what about Tears of the Kingdom DLC where you can rebuild Hyrule? I've been wrong twice. I don't know if I'm going to jump on the rebuild on the building train the third time. But watch this finally be the time where they actually do allow you to rebuild Hyrule. Sky Swords Elisa. Do you think there's any chance the Oracle games are announced as remakes, remasters, or on the NSO? Maybe NSO could happen tomorrow. I know we tend to get NSO announcements in September. So that might be a more likely bet. I have to double check on what, like, I have to double check which Game Boy games have come and which ones haven't been announced. So I'm not sure if we're at the point where they need to announce more new ones, because they just added Game Boy games this past February. So I gotta take a look to see like what NSO Game Boy games are left. So I'm gonna do a quick Google search. Maybe that'll tell me. If I search NSO Game Boy lineup, I'm looking here. Okay, so the 9 Game Boy games are Tetris. Kirby's Dream Land just came out. Are the others all available already? Well, wait, did they already announce that Oracle of Ages and Seasons are going to come to NSO? Did I miss that? That's what this article is saying. Is my brain just completely forgetting that this was announced? Maybe. I'll say that in terms of games that want to be remade, it is Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Or Minish Cap. Minish Cap would be cool. But Minish Cap has such a great art style, I'd be worried that they'd ruin it. So, I'd be worried about that. But they might just honor the art style too. Seromancer saying yes, it was announced a while ago, so we just gotta wait. Oracle of Agencies are coming to NSO then. All right, so where is the poll at right now? We're 23 minutes in, 105 votes. All right, I'm gonna wait 2 more minutes. Get your votes in for this poll, guys. Get your votes in. And then I'll think of one more fun poll before we kind of close things out. How long have we been streaming for? Decent amount. Well, almost an hour and a half. Okay. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Alright, so let's see here. What else should we talk about? F-Zero. I mean, we talked about F-Zero. We talked about 2 new Mario. We talked about Metroid. I think that we're even if we don't get Metroid Prime 4, I think Metroid Prime 2 or 3 could be announced tomorrow. We touched on Donkey Kong. Some people have been suggesting Mario Party is going to get announced in this Direct, and I wonder about that. So, Super Mario Party came out, I want to say 2018. October 2018. Super Mario... Well, that's not Super... Mario Party Superstars, which is the most recent one, which is my favorite, came out October 2021. So we got an October 2018 release, an October 2021 release. It hasn't been 3 years. It's only been 2. So, is it about time for another? The reason I haven't predicted this is because I feel like it's too soon. I also feel like they should have added DLC to Superstars, and they never did. That would have been a great idea. I still hope they kind of do, actually. Like, maybe that could be, like, free on Nintendo Switch Online. That would be nice. That would be nice. I'm not convinced that Mario Party is getting announced tomorrow, but I'll be happy if it is. I just hope it's good, because it's gonna be tough to top Superstars unless they do another Superstars, or just give me DLC. I'd be content with DLC for Superstars. All right, I'm gonna end the poll for the Metroid Prime one. Let's end the poll. Let's see where we're at. The votes have been tallied. At 112 votes, and I ended it a little bit sooner than the Zelda one, but only by about a minute or 2. Will Metroid Prime 4 be in the show tomorrow in any way? 60% said yes. 39% said no. It's 40%. That's just YouTube being weird with the percentages, but a 60-40 split, 112 votes. So most of you think that Metroid Prime 4 is getting announced tomorrow. All right. I'm putting my faith in you guys. I'm putting my faith. I hope it happens. I really, really do. I'm ready for the Metroid hype cycle. I am so ready for it. It's gonna be amazing. Like, I think when Metroid is... It's just... Like, okay. Just hear me out for a second. It kind of goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of this live stream. What's gonna be crazy about Metroid is that we're gonna see, and whenever it does happen, right? Even if it's not tomorrow, when it does happen, we're going to see this epic, exotic, beautiful alien world unlike anything we've seen before. And we're gonna be able to explore this. There's gonna be so much discovery to be had here. We haven't had anything substantial and new like this from Nintendo in a long time. Because the thing about Tears of the Kingdom, as amazing as it is, and it is absolutely amazing with all the abilities you can do and the different ways you can explore in the depths, we're re-exploring Hyrule in a new way, right? It's kind of like adding a new perspective to Hyrule, and that's cool. But, I mean, you got the Xenoblade games, which are big worlds to explore. But like what we're gonna get with Metroid, it's gonna be something very different. It's gonna be an exotic alien world that we're gonna be exploring first person. There's gonna be a lot of detail there. There's gonna be a lot of lore to uncover. It's gonna be like a really cool adventure game. So I'm really excited to see how it's going to look. Like, it's been so many years since we've seen a new Metroid Prime game. Like I'm very excited to just see it. Like I don't need the game to come out immediately, but like I would like to get at least like a teaser trailer so I can see it, analyze it, talk about it for a few months. Like it's gonna be cool. Whenever that does happen. Brand of the Persona Pony. Do you think the 1,000-Year Door remake is real? And if so, what are your hopes for said remake? My idea is that they have an alternate story where you play Luigi's adventure to get the Marvelous Compass. Interesting. So I'll tell you that I do think that 1,000-Year Door remake is happening. I don't know that. I don't know. But some people have heard that a Paper Mario is getting remade. And I think that if that is the case, it's probably 1,000-Year Door. So, and I also think 1,000-Year Door is like one of the best GameCube games to remaster or remake. Now, will they add new content? We've seen a lot of remakes get new content added. I think it depends on how ambitious they're going to be with it. But a lot of Nintendo remasters reports get them. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe got it. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition got it. 3D World Deluxe got it with Bowser's Fury. But then Prime Remastered didn't. But it was only $40. So I think 1,000-Year Door will either A, be sold at a budget price and just be like an HD version with some quality of life updates. Or, yeah, it'll have like another side venture added to it. Aaron Rass, Andres, I would be excited to see a glimpse of it or a tease of Prime 4. I don't even need like a 5-minute, 3-minute trailer. Like, just give me something to kind of chew on, something. Joycey, you're gonna bet on the Metroid Prime 4 Tuesday tomorrow. Thank you. I don't know why I'm thankful for people believing, but I'm just happy. Like, yes, I'm not the only one. The Joker. Okay, but hear me out. Super Mario Bros. 2D titled Wario's Wonderland and Wario and Waluigi are the villains. That would be awesome. I would love that. Wario and Waluigi need more spotlight. That would be so cool, especially Waluigi. Like, give me some nice lore behind Waluigi. Give me more background behind him. Because I think that's the kind of thing that Waluigi needs to make into Smash Brothers. He needs more substance. He can't just be in, like, Mario Party and stuff. He needs to actually be a character that has something more to him, and that would be amazing. Nintendo Prime, sup buddy? Nate says, watch all we get is here's a cool port and 2D Mario, the end. It's a 40-minute direct, so I don't know. There's gotta be more than a cool port and a 2D Mario to fill up the second half of the year. So we'll see. We shall see. Alright. Thinking about putting up one more poll. Although, yeah, one more poll. This one won't be up for as long, so end the stream relatively soon. So yeah, guys, ask your like final questions. If you have any final questions or topics you want to come up, because I'm gonna end things in about 20 minutes. Let's see here. Let's put up a poll. I want to put one more. Because I believe whatever you guys tell me will actually happen. Let's see. Is it time for Donkey Kong? I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think. Saying no isn't bad. Saying yes isn't bad. Yo. So many think it's time for Donkey Kong. I guess Donkey Kong's happening tomorrow too. It's gonna be the greatest direct ever, apparently. Mario DK. Pokemon Detective Pikachu 2? Question mark. The thing about Detective Pikachu 2 is that I think they're saving that to line up closer to the movie. And I'm not sure when that's happening, but I think we may have to wait a little bit. And also because it's Pokemon related, I feel like that might be saved for a Pokemon Presents, which I think there may be another one later this year, or they'll just drop a trailer on that. So we might not hear about the Detective Pikachu 2 until next year. Even if we do get an update, I think there's a really good chance that we don't see it in the Direct tomorrow because most Pokemon things aren't announced in Directs. Sean Castle Singer. Movie announcement tomorrow? That would be mind-blowing, but I don't think, though. I do not think we're getting a movie announcement tomorrow. I do not think so. You know, it'd be really cool. I don't even want Nintendo to announce any Nintendo movies until they have the first trailer ready. Like, I don't need Nintendo to tell me in a month, oh, the next Zelda movie's in development, stay tuned. No. Surprise me with a trailer randomly, or like maybe 2 years from now, announce a Legend of Zelda movie direct. Like just do like that. Announcement is the announcement, and then it's like, okay, you're gonna see the trailer for a Zelda movie here. Like I want to be like I don't want to just be like, oh, okay, so it's a Zelda movie, all right. I'm okay with just living off of rumors of a Zelda movie until Nintendo's ready to officially like give us something. That's just how I feel on that. Mario DK. Odyssey got rid of lives. Do you think new 2D Super Mario Bros. Would too? I don't think so. I think it depends on the system. I mean, I think if it's like that Metroidvania style like Samuel brought up, then maybe. But if it's still kind of following a similar style of gameplay where it's like, you know, you just different level. I think I don't think the life system is gone. So I'm gonna say no. The coins is something you kind of collect as you explore these sandbox environments in Mario Odyssey. A 2D Mario isn't exactly that, so I don't think it would have the same kind of system. Guy you don't know. I'm curious to know how closely Prime 4 sticks to the core design philosophy of the trilogy. I'm hoping that Retro City really evolves and innovates on the series foundation. So I had this idea in the shower earlier. You know, sometimes when you're in the shower, you just get ideas. And I think I actually came up with a relatively decent idea of how they can implement an open world like structure to a Metroid Prime game. Now, I like how the Metroid Prime structure is. It's the you know, you obtain a power up, and with this power up you can now go elsewhere and dig deeper, and that requires not really being open world, right? It's got to be locked in several places. But what if you explore a single planet? At first I thought, what if they did like a Prime 3 thing where you have multiple planets and you can kind of explore open world solar system between planets? Like that would be fun. But I think the problem with that is that when you're dividing up the planets, well, each planet has not as much to explore. Like it's kind of spreading yourself too thin. Unless I don't know, unless they have like the most amazing epic giant team ever. But what I think might be a little bit more reasonable, explore one planet, and you actually can fly your ship around the planet and the space around it, right? So maybe like you can explore like the outer layers. Like it looks like you're in space, like that's how far you can go. And there's like maybe like space stations and different like frigates, right? Like from the original Metroid Prime that you can explore that are almost like kind of like mini levels. You can explore on the outside, almost kind of like how in Tears of the Kingdom when you go high into the skies, there are like these mini areas to explore, kind of like that. And you can't go beyond it. If you go too far beyond, there'll be like, you know, solar radiation or some sort of gaseous trap that keeps you relatively close to the planet, so it limits you. But there's like this open space to explore that has like these space stations and little like planetoids and moons that you can explore that are kind of like mini compartmentalized like little challenges. And when you get them, it gives you like something. I'm not sure what it is, but some kind of thing you can build up. And when you build up enough of it, it can allow you to open up different areas on the surface. And maybe this is how the game could start out. Maybe it even starts out very similar to Prime 1 in a space station hovering around the planet. So it's kind of like paying homage, but it's a little different. And then when you come out, instead of just an escape sequence where you crash land, you can't get to it. You have to figure out how. So you start flying through and you can open up like portals into the planet. And so when you get there, you can explore that area, but there might be something that locks you that may require you to go to another part of the planet. But in order to get there, you have to obtain enough keys or whatever to allow you to open up a different part you can fly to. So it's still like that Metroid style of, oh, I got to this point, but I can't progress back. I'm going to have to backtrack, go elsewhere. But it's not so much backtracking, but as in you explore this open space, obtain enough of something that allows you to progress in another part, and you go back and forth. And as you continually open up the actual planet, and it's all intertwined. It's all about getting deeper and deeper to the core of the planet where the final boss is. And that would be kind of like a hybrid Metroid Prime style of game, Metroidvania style game in 3D, but have open world elements. That's just an idea I had. Will they do that? It's an idea. I'm sure whatever they do will be completely different, or not. Maybe I'm onto something. I don't know, but I think it's possible to kind of give us a little bit of that open world experience with the Metroid game, but it has to be done in a way where it's not truly fully open world, because I think that takes away from the Metroid experience. Samuel with another super chat. Thank you for that super chat, buddy. Do you think Prime 4 is going to spark another trilogy of Prime games? Furthermore, will they come out more often, assuming Retro stays at the helm? More often than every 2 decades? Yes. Will they come out every 2 to 3 years like they used to back in the day? No. They're going to take longer than 2 to 3 years. But maybe Metroid Prime could become generational, like the Zelda series. I'd be okay with that. I think that'd be pretty awesome. Taker610 with a super chat as well. Thank you for that super chat, buddy. Taker says, Nintendo, our plans don't match up with E3. ESA, when are your plans taking place? Nintendo, this week, the week after. We still support you though. ESA, yeah, that's about right. That is about right. I think they just didn't really want to be part of E3, but I don't know. Some people think that because Nintendo doesn't have a lot of cool announcements for the Direct yet, they're still going to give us a 40-minute presentation. I think if Nintendo wanted to kind of like temper expectations, they would have done a Nintendo Direct Mini, you know? Or they would have announced 1 or 2 games on Twitter and done a partner showcase. I think they're doing a general Direct because they feel good about what they have to offer in the second half of the year. I don't think we're in for a bad second half. Maybe it's not the games you personally like, whoever you are, but I think they're going to have a nice, well-rounded balance with 3 farming simulators. Yeah. Let's check in with this survey here. I'm calling it a survey, the poll. So 9 minutes ago I asked, is it time for Donkey Kong? 69% of you had said yes. 31% of you have said no. The optimism. The optimism. Brand the person pony. Andres, do you think Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, and Silver, and Crystal will be revealed and shadow dropped after the Direct on NSO, with them showing the RSE intro, and RSE comes in the fall? RSE. What's RSE? Scarlet and Violet? No. I'm not sure what RSE is. But I don't think we're getting Pokemon announcements tomorrow. Oh, but I would be very excited to see the Pokemon games added to NSO. And to see compatibility with the Pokemon City games on NSO, that would be amazing. I don't know, maybe they will add it. Maybe they will do it. That would be really cool. Truth be told, I wish Pokemon games were in Directs. Like, it is sometimes nice to have them separate, but I think Directs would be better if they had all their content in one place. Of course, it'd be harder for Nintendo to organize everything, but, you know. Rushblade. Do you think we're gonna get Persona 3 Reload on Switch? You know, I haven't really been behind that. I know people have been speculating that. What's it on? I haven't been really on that. There are rumors. What was it announced for? If it's on PlayStation and Xbox, then I would say yes. It will come. Oh, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Nicholas Duncan, new Yoshi game. You know what? I'd be down for a new Yoshi game. When was the last time I got a new Yoshi game? There's Yoshi's Woolly World and Yoshi's Crafted World. Yoshi's Crafted World came out, what? A long time ago. A long time ago. Yoshi's Crafted World. Was that a Wii U game? No, it was a Switch game. I think the Wii U game was the previous one. 2019. Now here I am saying I want another Yoshi game, but I actually haven't played through Kirby's Crafted World, so maybe I should play that. I think I didn't because I heard it was easy. No, but I should play Yoshi's Crafted World because there's a challenge in 100%ing it. Risky, what's your opinion on Game Freak making new IP with Western devs? Will it skip Nintendo console knowing Nintendo tech is too outdated to play modern AAA third-party games? Maybe, yeah. I think you could be right. It's not going to really impact Pokemon development, but yeah. Yep. Yep. All right. So Donkey Kong poll has been up for 13 minutes, 76 votes. 71% are saying that it is time for Donkey Kong. It's crazy. Whoa, King Frost has joined as a member. Welcome to the Legends membership, King Frost. Glad you've joined. I appreciate it. You know something else I'd like to see? I was gonna say Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's on my mind. I'll get to Donkey Kong in a moment when I close out the poll, but I would like to see Star Fox. Thank you. Star Fox would be great. I have no reason to think Star Fox is going to show up tomorrow. But whenever we do get the next Star Fox, it is going to be glorious. It's going to be totally glorious. Can't wait. There's a lot of things Nintendo can announce that are going to have me hyped. If I see F-Zero GX tomorrow, I might cry. If I see Metroid Prime 4 tomorrow, I am losing my voice. If they announce Tears of the Kingdom DLC tomorrow, I might be like super excited. 2D Mario, I think could be really fun. I'm hoping that it's not like cookie cutter and it's like a new style of 2D Mario. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, Star Fox would be the best. Yeah, so it would be really good. Hazard so safe. Hazard do safe. Super Luigi Kong. Do you think the new Donkey Kong will be on Switch or next console? I think it'll be available for both systems. But I do think there will be a very good version available for Switch 2. I don't know if they'll have a graphics patch depending on when it comes out or if it comes out after, but I think it's going to be available for both systems. I don't know because I'm not sure how Nintendo's handling that, right? Like Donkey Kong's tough because it hasn't been announced for Switch. With Metroid Prime 4 was announced for Switch, you know, so it's a little different. But if you guys are right here about it being the time for Donkey Kong, then Donkey Kong's absolutely coming for Switch, and I'm just gonna assume that there'll be a graphics patch coming out later. Dude, if we get Donkey Kong tomorrow, it's gonna be amazing. Taker610 with another super chat. Chrono Trigger Modern Remake, Tears of the Kingdom. What? What? As in better than Tears of the Kingdom, greater than? I don't think so. But I would love to play a Chrono Trigger remake. I would love to. But I'm assuming when they say remake, it's gonna be like still like, you know, it's gonna be, it's not gonna be like a 3D remake. It's gonna still be moving around, like it's gonna be kind of like same Chrono Trigger style of gameplay. It's still gonna be 2D. Like it might have like some 3D graphics for visuals, but it's still gonna move on a 2D plane. Super Luigi Kong, you will lose your mind if a Donkey Kong is announced. Yeah, me too. I'll lose my mind if Star Fox, Donkey Kong, Metroid showing off, like F-Zero, like those will all just make me so happy. You know, the interesting thing about Donkey Kong that we talked about a few months ago, how there was this project that they were working on, ultimately canned. Activision and Nintendo were working together, and they moved on to work other things. But it was going to be an open world Donkey Kong game. Then supposedly Nintendo has kind of brought it in-house, and they're working on it now. We don't know what it's going to be now. They might have transitioned to 2D Donkey Kong, but I'm open to the idea of the next Donkey Kong being something different. Whatever that is. I think it's going to be something different. But like it's still going to be like a really epic platforming adventure game. Hey, Brandon in the chat. Am I ready to see Prime 4 tomorrow? Yes. I am ready to lose my voice and go mute tomorrow. I am ready to be so happy tomorrow. Is it possible it won't happen? There will be some disappointment if it doesn't happen. I'm going to be frank. But there will be other things that I will enjoy in the direct. That is pretty much 100% guaranteed. I think it's going to be a solid direct. And if Prime 4 is there, it's just going to be stupendous. Hazard do safe. Imagine if they were all announced tomorrow. The Nintendo world would lose our minds. I mean, let's imagine we get 2D Mario, we get Donkey Kong, we get Metroid, we get Zelda DLC, we get F-Zero. Like, that would just be... And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think all of that's going to happen. I don't. Something's got to give. Or some things got to give. Yeah. Yeah. All right, I'm going to end the poll. I think we know where this is going. So, this poll was up the shortest amount of time, but I think it's pretty clear how everyone feels about this. So, of the 90 votes, 75% said yes, 25% said no. If in terms of it being time for Donkey Kong. That's a high majority of you thinking it is time for Donkey Kong. Now, I mean, that question is a little bit vague. That doesn't mean that Donkey Kong's to be there tomorrow, but I think it's time for I mean, if Donkey Kong's announced tomorrow, I think people will be really excited about it. It'll be really cool. All right, so guys, if you guys can put in your last questions, last chats, I'm closing out here in a few minutes. We're going live tomorrow, so I got to save my energy. Guy you don't know, ever since Star Fox Zero, the reputation of the series has declined. So I think a new game would have a lot to prove in order to get the vast majority of people genuinely hyped for it. Yeah, I think they just need to give Star Fox a legitimate effort. I don't think Star Fox Zero was a legitimate effort. Like, that was clearly low budget, weird direction, no online play. I just think they need to give it a legitimate effort. I don't even think... Like, yes, they could try and innovate and come up with all crazy sorts of ideas. But they can keep it real simple. Come up with a new story. Give us a Star Fox game that is kind of like Star Fox 64 with the arcade style branching paths. Keep it simple. But the more you do there, the more you explore there, the more you unlock for multiplayer, and have a significant multiplayer element. And that's it. Like, do that. It will do well. People will enjoy that. It'll be cool. That's all you have to do, and it will do really well. Now, maybe that's considered a lot, but it would do, like, basically. What I'm getting at here is you don't have to make a giant open world game. It can all, I think, if you've played Star Fox before, you kind of know how it works. The campaign could be beaten within 4 to 10 hours. It's not super long, but there are branching paths, and you can it's highly replayable. There can be different difficulties. You can play for higher scores, unlock more stuff, and that can be used in the multiplayer, which would offer immense amounts of replayability. And of course, it'd be opened up for DLC as well. Like, I think a lot of people would enjoy that. A lot of people would be really excited about it. It would be really cool. It would work. Dragon Chi has joined as a member. Thank you for your membership, Dragon Chi. Welcome. I'm happy to have you aboard. BRX Orthotic. Why is Retro Site so out of date? Is it? Is Retro Site so out of date? Let's see here. Retro Studios. Oh man, I think you might be right. Go on, let's check out Retro Studios site together. Let me show you guys. Home. Games. Metroid Prime Remastered. Tropical Freeze. Tropical Freeze. Why is it there twice? Because one's for Switch and one's for Wii U. Country Returns. Mario Kart 7. Country Returns. Because of the 3D version. Jeez. Prime Trilogy. They can see they've been fairly limited with what they've made over the years. It's always been amazing. Yeah. It is strange. On a lost and lonely moon, Samus engages her scan visor to translate the characters inscribed on an alien monolith. Huh. Yeah, it's nothing too crazy about this. It is pretty basic. It is pretty basic. Their Twitter's more up to date. But this, they do have this though. This is the most animated part about it when you click careers. Man, that's a good shot. This is them hyping up Metroid Prime 4. Or getting people excited to maybe work for Retro Studios on Metroid Prime 4. Yeah, there's not much there. It's not that much. But maybe they'll update that when they have a actual brand new game to focus on, as opposed to just ports and remasters of games they made years ago. And that's probably it. They just haven't had anything super substantial that they've been working on that's come out recently. So that might be why. Polished Patriot. You think specific dates for Tears of the Kingdom DLC will be announced? No. I think even if we get the DLC announced, it'll be windows, like, oh, spring and fall or something, you know? Or next year. Yep. Yep. All right. Well, I think we've reached the end of tonight's discussion. I'm going to save my energy for tomorrow. We're going to start an hour early, and we're going to continue this discussion. We're going to get hype. We're going to watch the direct. It's going to be a good time. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So it's going to be interesting. Brandon will be with us tomorrow. It's going to be cool. I'll read this one last question. Samuel A., how long do you think Prime 4 will be compared to Prime 1? I don't know, but I think it's going to be considered a fairly substantial game. I think it's going to be a longer experience than Metroid Prime. I think Prime 4 will altogether be considered like a 40 to 50 hour campaign. I'm just kind of putting out some numbers. Metroid Prime was considered to be like a 15 to 20 hour campaign if you didn't know what you were doing. So, like, yeah, if you were new to the game is what I mean. And Taker with a super chat. Thank you with that super chat, buddy. Retro Studios is now old enough to truly be retro. That is true. That is true. They are retro. We may finally get to see something from them that is not so retro tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Whatever comes tomorrow, I'm sure it'll be great. All right, guys. I'll see you in the morning. Take care.